They open up a 40-0 halftime lead. Trenton Adkins, he has been phenomenal all season long. Almost 1,000 yards here is this portion of the season. But again, I think Ridgeview, one of their underrated things about the team is their defense and their speed on defense. Central is doing well. Of course, they faced two teams that haven't won yet. I think that Ridgeview is going to win this football game. I think they win it by a couple touchdowns. Central's improved, but Ridgeview wins 35-21.
Honestly, I'll be surprised if it's that close. I think Ridgeview has just too many weapons in their arsenal, and I'm not convinced they've shown everything yet. They've not had to.
Well, and they've not been pushed, and of course we hope that next week when we travel to Ridgeview that'll be the first time that they are tested. Again, that game will be in Clintwood. All right, Giles at Graham. Again, this ball game was a 2-touchdown game last season. Graham knocking off Giles 28-13. That game was actually tied 7-7 at halftime. The G-men are averaging 36 points per game this season. Most of their players are back from last year's state championship team. Giles is 0-2. They're coming off a 28-13 loss at Christiansburg. I think Graham is too much for Giles. I think they win 39-16.
Yeah, I think the G-men will take this one fairly easily. May even have the potential for some subs to get some quality minutes.
Pulaski County at Abingdon. This was a game we talked about on the show the other night. Tanner was talking about he thought that Pulaski would win this one. We saw Abingdon here last week. Of course, they were impressive, but Pulaski got a lot of speed. The Cougars returned 15 starters from an 8-4 team last year. They've got 6-foot senior Gage Mannon, who's got 800 yards rushing so far this season alone. He's joined by Jakari Finley, who's got 790 all-purpose yards behind a huge offensive line. Even though the game's at Abington, I still think Pulaski County's got too much. Abington's good, but I'm not as good. I don't think they're as good as advertised. Pulaski County wins this one 21-13.
I think the rest of the teams that Abingdon plays this year owes Gate City thanks, because Gate City highlighted Abingdon's weaknesses and should make it fairly easy for some of these larger teams to exploit that. So I think Pulaski wins this one also.
A lot of speed, a lot of size for Pulaski County. A team that's kind of up and down as well, Honaker, is at Twin Valley. This is a Black Diamond District game. Honaker is 17-1 all-time against Twin Valley. Their only setback against the Panthers came in 2016. However, talk about Levi Miller, which is the starting quarterback for the Tigers, got injured last week. Castlewood, of course, got the upset at Honaker. That was one of the reasons why. Again, he is out indefinitely. They still got a good nucleus: Trevor Dye, Travis Music, Chandler Hubbard, and Levi Glimp. I think that they'll win. Won't be as big as normal, but I think Honaker wins over Twin Valley 28-22.
Yeah, I think Honaker will make it 18 wins. Once again, kind of like Chilhowie, they've just got too much for Twin Valley.
Thomas Walker at Castlewood in the Cumberland District, I think, is going to be actually probably the best game of the night. Again, Thomas Walker at Castlewood. Last year, Thomas Walker blanked Castlewood in Ewing 24-0. Again, this Castlewood group knocked off rival Honaker last week 26-24. But I think that Thomas Walker had a bye week. They beat Cumberland Gap that first week. They've got some of their guys healthy this time, and I think they're going to go on the road. I think in a surprise, I'm giving Thomas Walker the win, 30-28.
Let me come back to you on this one. I'm going to have to think about it a little bit. These two teams are on paper fairly evenly matched. I'm not really feeling one way or the other right now on that one.
Castlewood, I think they kind of caught lightning in a bottle last week. I mean, it was a big emotional win. Those are two rivals, Honaker and Castlewood, being so close in proximity. But I think Thomas Walker being off a week, I think they come in and get the win.
My spidey sense isn't tingling either way on that one.
So about halftime.
At halftime, I'll let you know okay. if I can get some updates.
There we go. Lebanon at Grundy. Grundy's 2-0. Lebanon is 0-2. Again, Lebanon's two losses, though, have come to Honaker and Wise Central. Grundy has wins over Twin Valley and Ridgeview, West Virginia. So Grundy's not played a tough schedule as of this point. I think it goes back and forth. Both Grundy lost a lot off last year's team. Gabe Pfizer, which I think he ran wild last year, 360-some-odd yards. I think that Grundy wins over Lebanon, again, being at home, but I don't think it's as big as what the experts would say. I've got Grundy winning 29-19.
This is kind of like that Sullivan Central Pigeon Forge game. I think the home team wins just because they're the home team. You reverse the fields, could be a different outcome.
Larry and Andy went against us on the pick and panel.
You don't say.
On this one, Patrick Henry at Hurley. Both these teams are 2-0, both of them known as the Rebels, and again, both of them have great rushing attacks. Hurley is averaging more than 330 yards through 2 games. Patrick Henry is putting up 388 yards per game rushing the football. Again, this game being played at the Cliff, which I believe is at least a 7-point advantage for Hurley. But I think Patrick Henry's got a little more skill just in the running game. I think they can actually throw it as well, a little more than what Hurley can do. Hurley is big and strong. If they can dominate up front, they've got a shot at this one. I still think Patrick Henry wins 39-20. But again, this game could go the other way. I would not be surprised if Hurley does pull off the upset as Larry and Andy picked.
Well, I think Patrick Henry wins this one, like you said, fairly easily. And I'm not saying that just because I'm still holding out for that T-shirt.
Still, make sure, if you can send it to Gate City Sports Radio, our address on the website, again, we would appreciate it. Grayson County at Rural Retreat. I know that you know a lot about these teams, so I'll go through this one pretty quick. Again, Rural Retreat coach Jamie Hughes likes what his defense has done this year. He's got a trio of playmakers, Devin Poe, Dawson Allen, Holden Castle. This is a pretty good group. Again, on the road, Grayson County I think is a little bit stronger, and I think they'll win this one on a last-second field goal. I give it to them 20-19. A team we will see coming up, again, a team we dropped from last year and a team we picked up. Marion is at George Wythe. George Wythe has a lot of speed. Cole Simmons to Braden Thompson has become a popular phrase for their public address announcer again because he's thrown for 599 yards, 5 touchdowns between just those two alone in 2 games. Lineman Will Moss, wide receiver Devin Ham, they are the catalyst for that Marion offense, but I think Marion's lost too much this year in terms of overall their depth. I've got George Wythe winning this one pretty handedly, 38-17.
And Marion just did not impress me last year when we saw them, and they lost players off of that team. So I'm going to go with George Wythe also.
Team that I've been raving about all year, and I think this week they wake up.
Didn't you say that last week?
Exactly, and the week before that.
You say it often enough. Eventually,
they've really played some great first halves. Again, they had Howie down, they had Ridgeview down. Again, hopefully this week they'll have Lehigh down. J.I. Burton does travel to Lehigh this week. J.I. Burton beat Lehigh last year 38-13. Lehigh generated 381 yards against Burton last year. Again, I think Tanner Laster, the Generals, managed 181 yards against Union. I think Lehigh is going to be better than they were, but I still got J.I. Burton winning this one big, 44-14.
Well, for once, you and I agree on Burton. Yeah, I don't think that Lee has anything for them.
Holston at John Battle. Homecoming night on Battle Hill. John Battle beat Holston last year 37-20. Again, that game in Damascus. John Battle completed 13 of 15 passes, opened up a 28-7 halftime advantage last year. Before Holston tried to storm back, they weren't able to do so. John Battle coming off that huge win against Virginia High last week. I still think that they've got more bullets in the gun than Holston does. But again, being homecoming, taking them seriously, I think this game was closer than what most people will say. I've got John Battle winning, but only by a touchdown, 27-20.
And this is probably the third game this week that I'm going with Battle simply because Battle's the home team.
Battle, and then, Battle. So, talking about the picking panel, again, last week, Tanner and I went 7-6. You went 8-5, as well as Larry and Andy went 8-5. Again, folks, if you wanted to see exactly the picks and how we came up with them, they are on our Facebook page. Make sure to check that out. Tanner, myself, and Chris, all at 16-10 for the season. Larry and Andy, 15-11, one game out. Of course, the big upsets they're calling for this week. Hurley knocking off Patrick Henry. They're calling for Chattanooga to upset Tennessee. So as well as taking, I believe, if memory serves me right there, let me make sure, going through the picks here, and I think that's the only upsets they've got. I think they maybe had Stanford knocking off. I'm not sure. But anyway.
They can Chattanooga. I'm not going to the UT game this week. My daughter's in the softball tournament, and I would much rather watch her play than what's going on down there in Knoxville. So I'll be cheering on the Wolfpack.
So the Wolfpack.
Wolfpack, her softball team, not NC State.
I was thinking about Ridgeview. All right, so we're about 16 minutes away from kickoff. We'll take a quick break, come back, go over the starting lineups, and get you ready for Sullivan South and Gate City here, live from Legion Field. Again, you're listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
It can start your car's engine from Barcelona. It can take you to that restaurant no one's ever heard of.
Turn left on Culver Road.
It can rotate your tires, change your oil, and even send you an email when your tire pressure's low. This is Cadillac Shield, the most comprehensive suite of ownership benefits offered by any luxury automaker in the world. From impressive warranties and premium care maintenance to navigation, email alerts, your own mobile app, and more. Leaving you to wonder, what doesn't it do?
Teleportation mode initiated.
Well, not yet. Cadillac Shield, the new standard of luxury ownership.
To learn more about Cadillac Shield, go to Cadillac.com/shield. Premium care maintenance is standard on all 2011 and newer Cadillac vehicles for 4 years or 50,000 miles, whichever comes first. All Cadillac models come with 1 year of OnStar service. Visit OnStar.com for coverage map, details, and system limitations. Compatible mobile device required.
Proudly representing Southwest Virginia in the House of Delegates for the last 24 years, Terry Kilgore continues to strive and work hard for others. Just like our Gate City Blue Devils proudly represents our school, our town, and community. Delegate Kilgore, a proud Gate City alumni himself, wants to thank the residents of the 1st District for their trust and support over the years as he's continued to voice our needs and concerns in Richmond to make our region a tremendous place to live and work. And on behalf of Delegate Kilgore and his family and staff, they say, go Big Blue! Are you tired of the negative political rhetoric in the news today? Are you ready for someone who is strong in faith and ready for the challenge to lead? We finally have someone who will put people over politics. Rex Carter is your choice for Washington County Sheriff. He will bring a fresh perspective to the office of sheriff by putting people first. If you want to have a law enforcement agency led by integrity and character, then let's hear your voice for the right choice of Rex Carter for Washington County Sheriff. To learn more, go to rexcarterforsheriff.com. Authorized and paid for by Rex Carter for Sheriff campaign.
You are listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
All right, and we are back here from Legion Field, about 13 minutes away from kickoff. Crowd is really starting to come in here. South is already on the field, looks like. They are going to be dressed in their away whites with black pants, gray helmets, and again, they are assembling down in the right-hand side. Again, we're on the home side, so it'd be on the right-hand side. They've got their inflatable helmet in the corner of the end zone facing us. So they look to be coming out on the field here in just a few minutes. Gate City is yet to come out of their locker room. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about South and Gate City. Talk about the starting lineups. Again, Chris, you've got some experience with some of these athletes and been able to coach a few of them here. And as we go through, just jump right in and let us know the inside scoop, if you will.
Well, I don't know how in-depth my scoop goes, but I can act like it anyway.
Well, again, we'll start with the Sullivan South offense. And, again, a player you know well, number 7, starting quarterback is Ethan Bergeron. Tell us a little bit about him and your experience with him in the middle school league.
Yeah, Ethan actually transferred to Sevier his 8th grade year, and he played pretty much every sport. We tried to get him to come out for baseball, but he did track instead. But he's a beast. He's just one of those natural athletes that – whatever ball he picks up, he's going to excel at it. He wound up transferring or moving to Colonial Heights, and now as a sophomore, he's starting for South. That says a lot right there.
6'3", 231-pound quarterback. Again, they sounds like they've got a great one. Of course, they lost Luke Pollock from last year's team, but the inexperience. He's only got 3 starts, and under his belt. So. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take another quick break. We've got the national anthem coming up. Let's do the starting lineups after that. Again, you're listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.